3, 2, 1.
What's up, Net Soldiers? I'm the Net Alliance. Today, we got an awesome video for you because today I'm going to be reviewing Star Wars Rebels Season 2. Now, if you want to hear my opinions on Season 1, make sure to click that card at the top of the screen and it'll take you there, and then you can come back and check out this if you want, but you don't have to, but it'd be cool if you did. So anyways, right off the bat, I'm just going to say this season was good, but it wasn't as good as Season 1 in my opinion. One of the coolest things about Season 1, and pretty much the biggest thing that I noticed between the two seasons, Season 1 did better with showing its filler. And what I mean by this is like, Season 1 might have had some filler episodes here and there, but they kind of threw story arcs in there, so it didn't feel like a filler episode. Where I feel Season 2's biggest downfall is these filler episodes. Now, don't get me wrong, they still were able to throw a couple story arcs here and there, but it still felt like filler and you could tell it was. I'd say the first episode of the season started out very strong, especially after the awesome cliffhanger that Season 1 ended with. And where there is a few awesome parts sprinkled within the entire season, the best parts are in the very beginning and the very end. Now, although I could definitely tell the filler episodes being thrown in this because I do think it's about 7 episodes longer than the first season, some episodes came out as a pleasant surprise. For example, the whale one where the whales are going down and eating the gas and they rely on the gas to live. Right from the very start I said, oh man, not another one of these, not another filler episode. But then it turned out pretty interesting later because Ezra could control the whales, so it was pretty cool, so that was interesting. Now, if you saw my Star Wars Rebels Season 1 review, you would know that the very first episode I actually saw of this series was the final episode in Season 2. In fact, that's the only reason why I decided to watch the rest of the series, and I was pleasantly surprised when it turned out to be good. Not that I expected it to be bad, I just thought it would be kind of meh. But after I really got into Season 1 and jumping into Season 2, and although Season 1 is really good and Season 2 is pretty good too, I'm very excited to see what the future is going to hold for this. Now, like I said, the beginning starts out with a bang, and then through the middle it kind of fillers out a little bit. You can definitely tell they're filler episodes. I don't think they did that great of a job throwing the story arcs in here and there, which is kind of lame, and I feel like there's a missed opportunity, but you know, you gotta do what you gotta do, especially with 7 extra episodes thrown onto a season. And then the last 2 episodes come out and boom, that changes everything. We get reintroduced to Darth Maul and he was awesome to see. Personally, I like the idea of Maul kind of joining the rebels. I liked that idea for a while. But then, of course, he blinds Kanan, and then we can't have him a good guy anymore because of that. And then, of course, we have the big fight between Ahsoka and Darth Vader, and that was awesome. And that's just like the icing on the cake of the end of Season 2, so that was great. Now let's jump into the characters and see how they're doing. Now for Ezra, he's definitely changed a little bit. I've seen some promo pics of him from Season 3. He seems to be more mature and older, so we'll see how that goes. But essentially Ezra is the exact same character in Season 1, maybe just a little more angry, a little more knowledge in the Force. In fact, there's this one part with Ezra where you can tell like he got like the Force. Whenever he gets angry, he just becomes like a Jedi Master or something, or should I say a Sith Master? I don't know. He just becomes a very powerful Force wielder, and it's nice to see that anger come out, because sometimes like when he sees like someone in trouble or someone he cares about is about to die, or even if he's about to die, he just taps into this hidden darkness, and I love seeing that because it just makes his character so much more in-depth and so much more awesome. So I like that. When it comes to Kanan, he's essentially the same character from Season 1 as well. I feel that with Season 1, they kind of created the characters and kind of made their backstories a little bit here and there. And then Season 2, they just kind of extended upon that character, but it's still essentially the same character. So it's definitely going to be different, especially now that he's blind. I really think it's going to change the dynamic of the actual character. I'd like to go further into Hera and Zeb and Sabine and Chopper. And they have a new droid too. I don't remember his name, but he's pretty cool. I like him. But essentially, they're all still the same characters. Chopper's still a little jerk. Zeb's still a big jerk, but you know, with a heart of gold. Hera's still the motherly figure. And one thing I would say about Sabine, one thing I really noticed about her is that they actually kind of gave her more of a purpose in Season 2. In Season 1, she was essentially a moody teenager who was also an infiltrator and was very agile, so that was pretty cool. We get a little more dynamic, the fact that she actually is a Mandalorian, and she knows a little bit more stuff about it. We find out that she's actually like a Vizsla, which is interesting. She might be like Pre Vizsla's daughter or something, which would be crazy. I definitely was not against that when I heard it. I was just very surprised. I also like the fact that Sabine is like the engineer of the crew now, so that's pretty cool. Now, joining our main crew, we actually have Ahsoka and Rex. Now, these are the 2 protagonists from the Clone Wars, so it's pretty cool to see them come back Of course, they're grown up and older. Ahsoka's awesome, but if I would say one thing about her, I felt like she wasn't in the series enough, but I do understand she's so powerful as a Grey Jedi that if she would have been in some of the situations that the Rebels found themselves in, I'm pretty sure she could have gotten out of it very, very easy. So I understand why they didn't want to have her just kind of hanging around, because she could have really helped out the story and kind of made it harder to write stories with her being around all the time. So it was cool when we actually saw her. I would say another thing about her, a lot of the scenes, we saw a lot of the main cast talking and she was just kind of sitting back and observing, and then occasionally she would just give her 2 cents every so often. I feel like she can kind of talk a little more, kind of communicate with all the rest of them. Because although I realize that Ahsoka is more mature than she was in the Clone Wars, it would be cool to see her kind of just like lay back a little bit and have more of a fun attitude like she was back in the Clone Wars. Also, I really like Rex. I like that he got brought back in. I like how he's kind of a main protagonist now. I would say one thing, they're kind of sidelining him a little too much. I understand. He's an older guy. They don't let him do more stuff because of the fact that he's an older character. But in a couple episodes, we saw him kick some butt. We saw him run around like he was young still. So it's like, why can't they kind of do more with his character? I really want to see what's going to happen with Ahsoka. I know she's alive, but we don't exactly know how she is. Well, I guess you would know if you've seen season 3 yet, but I haven't seen season 3. So I'm going off the perspective of season 3 not existing yet. So that's what I'm doing if you guys haven't caught that yet. Now let's talk about the villains of season 2. Let's start off with like the 7th brother and 5th sister, or 4th brother and 7th sister, whatever. I just know that these guys were total red shirts. And what I mean by that is they were totally created just to be killed at the end of the season, just to give an antagonist that would follow the main cast around that wasn't Vader. So I definitely say that these Inquisitors do not stand a chance in terms of character against the season 1 Inquisitor. I just personally think that the Inquisitor in season 1 was just so much more savvy and so much more evil, and it was perfect. It was an awesome combination where these two were totally just there just to hold you over until Vader showed back up at the end of season 2, and it was sad. I mean, I didn't really care to see them die. In fact, I kind of knew they were gonna die. The Inquisitor who flew away, remember his like lightsaber was destroyed by Kanan, and then it blows up in the air and he falls to his death, right? But here's the thing, later on in like that time, both Ahsoka and Maul fall off of the temple. You know, they fall even farther than he did. So it's like, well, how did they survive but he died? You know, so I'm gonna guess he'll probably show up in season 3, but probably not, considering he was only seen in those last 2 episodes and no one really even knows his name. He's just called like another Inquisitor. I don't even think they even call him like the 3rd brother or something like that or whatever, which is fine because I don't really care about him, so he can die, whatever. It was awesome to see Darth Maul return. I think he did a great job at returning. The guy who does the voice for him, who actually plays Starkiller in the old Force Unleashed games, is a little fun fact for you guys who didn't know that. Darth Maul was awesome. He was only in the last 2 episodes, and I think he was one of the best characters in the entire season, especially when it comes to villains. I mean, there were only like 5 of them, so he had to be in the top 5, right? I'm still pretty disappointed that Darth Maul did portray Kanan and the Rebels, because it is really sad, like I said earlier in the video, of him becoming a rebel. I think that would have been awesome, him going up against Palpatine and Vader. And speaking of Vader, we come to our final villain in season 2, and Darth Vader, he is so awesome. I liked when the Rebels referred to him as like, what was that? Oh my god, what was that? I liked the idea that Ezra could actually feel Vader coming before Vader was even there. It was so awesome. And like I said, every time Vader was actually on the screen, he stole the scene. And I'm being honest about that. I loved him. I wish I would have saw him more. You know, he was only in the 1st episode and the last episode, so whatever. Hope we see him a little bit more in season 3, and I think we will. We won't know until I actually watch it, which is probably going to be right after I'm done with this review. But with all this stuff said, what do I want to see in season 3? I'll tell you right now. Like I said, right off the bat, Darth Maul versus Vader. I want to see that in season 3. I want to see Ezra exploring more of the dark side. I know Ezra gets his green lightsaber, so I want to see him get the green lightsaber. And if he gets a red one too, that'd be cool. I don't think he's gonna get one, but that'd be cool. I want to see Kanan be able to use the Force and be blind at the same time, kind of become like a blind Jedi. And we saw a glimmer of this, where although he was blind, he was actually able to knock Darth Maul off. And then after he did it, he was kind of like, whoa, how did I do that? But it was very interesting, and I want to see that again. And I'm pretty sure we're gonna see more of that. Another thing that I said that I wanted to see in my season 1 review was I wanted to see more Kanan and Hera being together. I wanted to see their relationship kind of blossoming. We kind of get it a little bit here and there, but they definitely skipped over it way too much in this season. They focused too much on the action and not enough on the romance between Hera and Kanan. And here's the thing, that sounds weird to say, right? But honestly, I like those two together, and I want to see them actually flourish as a couple. And now that Kanan is blind, he's going to need someone to kind of watch over him and help him, so I do think that their relationship might get better because of that. And my final one for season 3, we need a good enough villain. The Inquisitor in season 1, he was good. The Inquisitors in season 2, they were not. Sure, Darth Vader was there, and so was Maul, but they were only in there for like, what, 20 minutes? If you even put their screen time together, probably not even 20 minutes. And let me just re-elaborate on that real quick. The Inquisitor in Season 1, the reason why I think he was such a good villain, not only was he menacing, but also because he actually challenged Ezra and Kanan, where the new Inquisitors, they were just kind of there. And they weren't as much of a threat for Kanan and Ezra as much as they were just kind of a roadblock. So that's why we need a good villain like in Season 1 again, or just make Vader the full villain. Now I also saw from the promotional pictures that Thrawn is going to be in Season 3, which is going to be cool to see. And although I do think he's going to be a pretty worthy antagonist, I still want to see a good, powerful, force-wielding, lightsaber-using, dark side user. So overall, I'll rank Season 2 and I'll rank Season 1 because I didn't actually do this in my last review. So right now I'll say Season 1's rank is a solid 8 out of 10. It's a great TV show. It's not the best TV show, but it's definitely good, especially for Season 1. And now I'm going to be ranking Season 2 as a 6.5 out of 10. And 6.5 isn't bad. Of course, it's not as good as 8, but on my list, a 5 out of 10 is pretty much like a meh or like an alright, it's alright type of thing for me. A 1 out of 10 is terrible. A 10 out of 10 is the best thing that's ever existed. So the reason why I gotta give it a 6.5 is because although it is still a very good show and I'd still recommend it, in terms of story quality, which is pretty much the most important factor when it comes to your actual TV show, it really doesn't improve upon Season 1. And the characters are practically the same. The only ones who really have that big of a difference are Kanan and Ezra. So we need to see more from all the characters. Also, the villains are weak and I did not feel threatened by them at all. And neither did our heroes, so yeah. But of course, that's just my opinion. Let me know your opinion on Star Wars Rebels Season 2. Did you like it? Did you not like it? What rating would you give it? Remember to like and subscribe if you enjoy my videos, and until next time guys, I'll see you tomorrow. Peace.